This video is the one where I read off the paper. The poem I chose is Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. This is one of my favorite poems because instead of looking at death as something to fear, you should actually not be afraid and welcome it because you are then going to be entering eternity. In the poem, I believe the speaker is actually Emily Dickinson. And instead of there being an actual time or an actual location, you're actually in a different physical space entirely. I think in the poem she's actually in between some sort of limbo between death and entering eternity. I think this poem was written for the person who fears death. It shows them that they shouldn't be afraid, and that's what I really enjoy about it. Most poems are about fearing death, and I don't think this one is. So this is the poem. Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immorality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, and only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, to centuries, and yet feel shorter than the day, I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. So that's the poem, and after writing about this poem, I felt like the entire poem could actually be taken upon anybody's interpretation, and that just my interpretation about it being you shouldn't fear death probably is not the only way it can be viewed. And that's also what I like about it, because I don't think any type of art should be taken only one specific way. I think everybody should look at it whichever way works for them, and that's why I feel also art would be made. I believe that death is just not something to be feared, and so that is the poem. Thank you.